Thanks to all of our sponsors, NHL Sense Arena, Stop It Goaltending U, the app, Vizual Edge. We've got a gear segment brought to us by the Hockey Shop, source for sports Langley, hockeyshop.com, our presenting sponsor on InGoal Radio, the podcast. Darren Millard, along with David Hutchison and Kevin Woodley. Woody, how are you feeling today, man?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, buddy. I am surviving. That was
Tell everybody what you did.
I played hockey for 5 hours after not playing hockey for 6 weeks. So that was, it's called the Cardiac Cup. It's a group of pilots that I play with, and other guys that work in the airline industry that I play with, not regularly, but multiple times a year. And I've played beer league with some of them, and they have this event. This is the first time I've participated. Now the games are abbreviated, but essentially with roughly 5 minutes between games and then one 20-minute break, we played from 10:30 a.m. till 3 p.m. And like I said, I had not been on the ice for 6 weeks. I've played once since the start of the Olympics. There are parts of my lower body right now that are speaking to me in languages that the rest of my brain and body does not understand. But I survived, Darren. You know what I did? I turned it into a demo day. I actually quick changed twice. We've got all this new equipment that I've been meaning to try. We've had it out in the hands of testers, but I haven't personally had a chance to try it. I literally was changing pads on the ice during the 5 to 10 minutes in between games. Went from, wore my CCM eFlex 7, tried Tax from CCM, tried the Alpha Surge from Warrior, which was, by the end of the day, you know, having an easier slide might have been a little easier, but also those things are so fast that you want to have groin muscles that are ready to sort of keep everything intact as you're moving around on it. It was a fun day. I'm alive. Thankfully, the name of the tournament, the Cardiac Cup, I did not become the first victim of the tournament. There was no cardiac arrest.
All right. Was it cross ice or
full ice? And they take it serious.
Good.
There's a little mini Stanley Cup and rings for the winning team.
Come on.
Yeah. And there's only
Did you get
no,
fitted?
I did not get fitted. This was a how not to from my standpoint. Bit of a leaky goal cost us in the semifinals. Actually had found my game, and let's remember that's relative. That's not necessarily a pretty thing by the time we sort of were winding down the day, but got a little opened up on a one-on-one net drive and went through the wickets, and that kept us out of the finals. So we settled for 4th place out of 4 teams. Good job, Woody.
Thinking Will Smith right now, Bagger Vance. You've lost your game. Let's go find it. That's what you have to do. Good for you. That's awesome. Was that the first time you wore the
It was,
Alpha
yeah,
Surge?
it was. Just like I said, haven't had a chance to get out in it. We've had some other people out in it.
Did you have the
I
slide
kept the slide
thing on
plate
it?
on it, and man, like I think I thought about playing again in them for one of the later games, without the slide plate, just because. And we did the full review. We've done the full overview on the Alpha Surge. If you check it out online at ingoalmag.com, we break this down. Everything, the way they've changed the build, that pad is fast without the slide plate. And with the slide plate, it's like lightning. And so there's an adjustment period. And first time in 6 weeks is probably not the best time to be doing adjustment period stuff. I want to give them another go without the slide plate because I know it's something that not everyone necessarily wants in their game. I actually made, with the slide plate, I made a sort of shift and drop save, kind of got it sort of tucked under the arm as I was shifting into it. And by the time I came to a complete stop, I was about 5-6 feet outside of my crease. The puck was with me, so it's okay. No problem. I had it in my body, but yeah, they're man, like, and the way that super flat boot and the way it sticks out a little bit on the toe, like it takes some adjustment in terms of, again, it's a very different feeling pad on your leg. But post integration, you nail that toe because there's a space there. I found that and I could just fly into my post. I had fun with it. I really had fun with it.
Can you compare that? Can you compare the Alpha Surge to another pad?
Well, again, honestly, no. There's nothing else like it. I don't think there's anything like the slide plate, to be honest with you. I think from a pad shape and design, you're probably looking at a true hazardous in terms of a flat tur boot, I believe, on the hazardous, and then a super straight pad. This is a very straight, very stiff pad. The flatter boot is extended to anyways, we've got a whole bunch of gear review stuff coming at InGoalMag.com in the next little while like this. So it's going to be a fun time of year. Lots of launches coming, including today. CCM Tax is out.
I'm disappointed, puzzled, confounded as to why David Hutchison wasn't there to help you with this changeover, the pit stops, getting the pads on and off. Like, Hutch, I see you with the towel over your shoulder, the water bottle, a screwdriver set in your one pocket. Like, why aren't you there to help him out?
A screwdriver set. That's quite the gear change. We're in the day of Velcro now. But Darren, that's an awesome idea. Actually, the two of us, you should come up. We get somebody to film this. It'd be great social media piece.
I didn't know about it until last night. I was frozen out of this conversation.
I didn't know about it till the day before, because when Woody's taking a day off to play hockey, he always feels guilty, so he doesn't tell me anything.
That's what it is.
You think that's what it is?
But I was with him
it doesn't have anything to do with, like basically Woody from Toy Story and me playing goal are the same thing? That's not flying, it's falling with style, and not wanting to have Hutch around to capture it with the camera and show it to everyone?
Could be.
Yes.
Could be. But
that has happened too. We get the odd picture out from Woody playing goal that Hutch is with his professional camera.
I do sense a little Drive to Survive Netflix documentary of you and I doing the pit stop for Kevin. Well, he's coming on and
awesome?
Off. It would be awesome. That. Yeah, and you know how in Formula One, when the drivers come in, they drop down those not on a pit stop, but say between sessions and so on. They drop down those video screens. So they can review, what their lap times are like and so on. So we bring Kevin in for the pit stop and we slap the Sense Arena goggles on him so he can just review what he's doing out there as the gear is changing. We could have a heck of a lot of fun with this one, or maybe we've just given somebody an idea. I did see Woody in person the day before that, though. Took our monthly trip over to the mainland for a session with Cam over at the hockey shop, and we did have a whole lot of fun together doing that.
Tax dropping?
Tax are dropping. Yep. There's overview/review, like early feedback from our testers. Some quotes in there from Stuart Skinner about the way the pucks come off and rebounds come off. As soon as we stop talking on this call, I am driving to Seattle to see Anne-Renee Desbiens and have a conversation with her about what she's liking about the way the tax pads stick, which also launches today, and skates, which don't launch till later this summer, are all performing for her in a midst of an incredible season with the Montreal Victoire.
And that transitions over from the Axis.
That is the extension from Axis AF. XF.
AF was my new term for it. I'm sad they didn't take it.
Yeah, it was Axis XF. Yeah, this is the extension of that, but a very different shape pad. Again, it launches today, April 24th, as we're recording this. It's just launched this morning. You've seen it on Jet Greaves. You've seen it on Stuart Skinner. You've seen it on Anne-Renee Desbiens and Gwyneth Phillips in the PWHL. If you have questions, because it is a very different shape pad with a lot of new features in terms of strapping, go to InGoalMag.com. We've got a full breakdown on the changes in the glove. Blockers mostly the same, but changes in the glove and changes in the pad. It's really important, and I think this is the same with Alpha Surge. Like, there are some differences here that are going to change a little bit how these things fit on your leg and how they move around or with your leg. And I think it's important for consumers to sort of check that out before just being like, I want the latest. Understand what it's going to do.
And there was one change to the blocker you've forgotten, Woody, that seemed so insignificant that it seemed like marketing fluff to me until somebody used it on the ice and came back and said that 100% makes a difference. Go check out the overview at InGoalMag.com to find out what that was.
See, the weird thing is I have that on my eFlex 7 block.
Oh, do you really? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So.
Oh, well.
Okay, what is it?
Go check out.
Yeah, there we go. Don't give it away. Go to InGoalMag.com. This is called the tease, Darren. Come on. You're supposed to be the professional.
We'll tell you offline, Darren.
We'll make you take a picture of your blocker and we'll see if it's on that one too.
Okay, we'll do that. I'm curious about the changeover because I'm using the XF Axis and the fit because I would just sign up for another one of those. But if it's going to change the fit, I'm now going to have to lean on you a little bit. My inside source. Let's get over to the gear segment brought to you by the Hockey Shop, source for sports Langley, thehockeyshop.com.
They are busy at the Hockey Shop, source for sports right now. Before we get to this week's gear segment, this is just the start of many. I've already talked about a few of the launches today, April 24th. The new Warrior Covert QR and 2 lower price point sticks beneath that has launched. That's what we're going to talk about with Cam today. But at the same time, new CCM Tax pads and gloves, new CCM Tax stick. And let me tell you that new stiff, soft Evo blade construction definitely makes a difference in terms of the feel on the blade of the new Tax stick. That's live now. We've also got a new undershirt, which I wore yesterday for the first time from CCM using D3O. We've got all those videos in the can ready to go in the coming weeks, but they've got all that gear in the store ready to sell to you right now at the Hockey Shop Source for Sports, thehockeyshop.com. And as always happens when we've got a new launch, the previous generations go on sale. So there are big savings. Darren, you're a fan of the CCM Axis XF. All on sale right now. Well supplies last at thehockeyshop.com and the Hockey Shop Source for Sports. Now let's get to Cam and a little insights on the Warrior Covert. Now for goalies, QR sticks.
Like normally, I have to hold sticks up. I feel like almost like, maybe this is just because I watched Project Hail Mary last night, but like gravity. This thing's so light that I'm actually having to hold it down, Cam. And it's pretty. And it performs. And it's Covert. We got a name change. The rest I'm going to leave to you. This is a
wow. Thanks.
Little hologram stuff. Like, look, I don't know if the camera is capturing that, but like this thing is gorgeous. It's light. It's okay.
You already said that.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Hockey Shop Source for Sports. I'm Kevin. He's Cam. We've got the new Warrior Covert stick line. 3 different models, probably shifting materials and weights. 3 different weights. I've got the top end one. Ooh. Mid kick, like walk me through. I'm going to let Cam, I'm going to let him talk now, folks.
You hold those.
I will hold these. Those are actually not really nice too for mid price.
Settle down. Okay. Starting off with the Covert, the high-end stick in particular, we now see that beautiful chrome-styled graphic. Really, really like the finishing on this stick.
It is
really,
beautiful.
really, really, really pops. Again, weight was something that Kevin already pointed out 3 times.
It's super light.
So for a 4th time, now we will talk about the weight of the stick, which is super light. And guess what? We're not going to tell you the grams this time because we're going to let you guys guess below. But it's definitely under 6. Is it under 570? Is it 560? Is it 550? Comment below. That's it.
That's his way of saying he hasn't weighed it.
That's fine. Twist curve.
Okay.
P31. Standard curve. We've seen this across pretty much all brands. Flex stick. So let's talk about the mid-kick profile of this guy. So they still have that same cutout they kind of introduced with the M series.
Right. This is kind of a build off that M series.
Correct. So we're still getting that more of that flex and pop to the stick as opposed
noticeably more flexible.
Yes.
Through kind of in here.
Yes, in middle of the actual paddle of the stick.
It's a mid flex, but it's kind of got a low kick.
Yes.
Mid flex, low kick. That's my experience. We have one at home. We've been playing with it. I can't handle the puck for crap, but I still notice the flex.
So mid kick.
Mid flex, low kick.
Mid flex, low kick.
Flex is here, kicks on the bottom.
I'm going to kick you. ASG shaft. They introduced this a little while ago on their I-Series specifically, and man, is it ever...
It's a game changer from breakage standpoint. Like, we've had no breakage in the models we tested last year. A lot of reps, through all the different price points, and it's like there's just no corners to hit up top there. So pucks that get over top of your blocker, there's no corners to sort of get chipped and cracked and break.
I like it as a playability standpoint, just being able to slot that glove in exactly where that cutout is kind of designed so you can get that more torque behind your shot. It's fantastic. It just feels good holding it in that glove. It's like you don't have this chunky, shaft in the way.
Next.
Price points.
These are the cheaper ones. QR50, QR10.
So QR50.
The top one's just called the QR, folks.
QR50, still customizable too as well.
We didn't get to the customization stuff.
Yes, you can customize this as well.
Mostly just colors, or can we do things with...
You get more of a round shape. You get a couple options for curves, if I believe so off the top of my head, and colors.
Okay.
And once again,
this is customizable too.
Exactly. This is the price point that I've currently been using, to be honest. I really like the feel of this. This has been perfect for, my beer league and everything like that. I'm not noticing a major difference between this and, say, like an RTL in terms of overall performance and playability wise. When I'm using, for example, this price point.
Still has the different the cutout on the back.
Yeah.
So you notice that flex?
And you still get the ASG shaft and everything like that. So you're still getting a lot of those same pro features. It is slightly heavier. Noticeable.
Yeah, because they're using different materials. That's how you save money on the lower price point stick, because they've used different materials. We find in a lot of brands, they're even more durable at that range, the lower you get.
Indeed. Depends.
Okay. Hesitation from Cameron.
No, not necessarily on it's just all brands.
QR10?
Okay.
Same kind of thing. Just drop a price point, get a little heavier. Are there any features that we lose on this one?
Don't have that exposed carbon that you can see. So their minimus carbon that they're using all the way throughout their price points. So you can see the different weaves until we get to the QR10.
But this is less than half the price
Correct.
of the QR. So you're really getting into significant reduction in price, and you still get
the ASG shaft,
which Cameron loves.
Yes.
And I quite like. It's taken me a little while. It's a different feel.
Yes.
Takes a little while to get used to it. Some people might wonder why we haven't seen pro adoption. That's because of the pro sticks, because of all the custom options on the pro sticks, they don't have it set up in the factory to make it with the ASG yet. But I'm willing to bet as soon as NHL guys start trying this, you're going to see a lot more of it. Although they don't really have to worry about durability like we do. There you go. Covert. Not just for players anymore. Cam, if they got questions about customizing and ordering, where can they get you?
604-589-8299 or 1-800-567-7790.
Nice.
Or at thehockeyshop.com.
Nice. So nice that I didn't even high stick them in this one. That doesn't happen in a stick episode.
Time to covertly exit.
Did you get a chance to use the Covert QR?
I did.
Stick at your cardiac cup?
I did. And this is the tough part about these things is you can try too many different things at the same time. And next thing you know, if you don't feel comfortable with one thing, it affects your opinion on the other. So that's the one thing we do with our testers. Like, honestly, especially right now with so many different things, I could send testers out head to toe new gear, but it really defeats the purpose. So if you're trying one of our new chest protectors that we have in or pants, we don't want you wearing 6 different things. We want you to feel comfortable in the rest of your game. So I used it, and the low kick point is noticeable. I don't want to say it's lost on me. It might have been lost on me by the time I put it into play yesterday a little bit, just because I was so fatigued that I was not getting out and handling pucks by the end of the day. A couple of my puck handling attempts went for goals, so made some mistakes with it. You can feel that little low flex, that low kick. I just don't know that I had I'm not a great shooter of pucks to start with, and I wasn't having a great day handling it behind the net. But you can definitely sort of just getting it on the ice and playing around with it in the brief couple of minutes we had before each game started. You can really feel the flex point is quite different. It's not in the shaft. It's down, a lower midpoint on the paddle, and you can feel how it just sort of releases it lower. So with a little practice, a little more evolution in my puck handling skills, I can see how it's just that quick snap. It's just going to elevate it really quickly, get it past that first forecheck.
I would like that.
See, we got to get you set up. And the one thing I do like, because one thing I did a lot of yesterday in my fatigue was drop my stick. It's really easy to pick it up with that new ASG and the contoured handle, as well as, I may not have done well once the puck got on my stick, but that ASG contoured shaft definitely makes it easier to get yourself into a puck handling position.
Back to the cardiac cup. I can't promise this will be the last time I look back on it, but how many games in did you forego the warm up?
There were basic outside it. We got 5 minutes in the first game, and then the only time you had a chance for a warm up after that was if there was a gap in, like the next one started right away, and there might be a couple of minutes in between.
So you didn't take
no
any
shots in between games because Darren, I was busy quick changing my pads on the ice.
Okay, come on,
Thank God for Velcro.
Stick.
Thank God for Velcro. Stick. No, I know. You know what, Darren? I had the Covert QR and I had the new CCM tax, which, by the way, and thanks to CCM because the model they sent us came with, they have new customization options with the Tax Pro stick. Minimum 2 order. That's all you got to do is order 2. They sent me one with a trigger grip, and I am loving it.
Oh, it's the best thing.
Love it.
If you have the option, I would never go past the trivia.
I might be going to it full time after this. So that was this was I didn't need a warm up stick, but because of the gear testing, the demo day I turned yesterday into, and let me tell you, teammates look at you sideways because some guys really take this seriously, and I'm walking in with
there had to be some good chirps going on.
3 sets of equipment. I'm going to keep going back to my car, coming back. The worst part though was after, when I could barely walk and everything hurt, I had to make all those multiple trips back to the car to take it back. But it meant I had 3 really good sticks on the bench.
How many of your guys thought that there was a different goalie in net game to game because you had different gear on?
I did not change my jersey or my mask, so I was probably safe. Also, they could see that nobody else sucked quite as badly as I did.
That's wrong. That's not right. Vizual Edge ProReads, brought to us by our friends over at Visual Edge.
Listen, much like our feature interview this week with Adam Gajan, this week's ProReads is a guy who loves the game and loves to talk about the game and is very great at sharing insights with all of us. It is Eric Comrie of the Winnipeg Jets. I can't wait to get to that. But first, it is presented by our friends over at Visual Edge. Do you want the puck to look like a beach ball? Oh, hold on a sec. Sorry, Hutch. I had this and I just clicked on the wrong button. So 3, 2, 1. Want the puck to look like a beach ball? Every goalie has that night here and there where the puck looks huge. You're ahead of every play. You feel calm, patient, in total control. Then there are the nights where you're a half step late. You see it, but you don't really see it. You're reaching, you're guessing, you're fighting it. I'm raising my hand as I read that. That's not your technique. It's your eyes and your brain not processing the play fast enough. Visual Edge fixes that. It measures how well your eyes track and process the game, then gives you a custom plan to train improvement. 3 15-minute sessions a week on your laptop or tablet, laying on the couch, sitting at the kitchen table, maybe with your morning coffee. Easy to do. It's what NHL goalies use to make the game slow down when it matters most. And remember, if you use the code InGoal, INGOAL, all caps, you get 10% off. If you're an InGoal Premium member, log into the website, go to the latest ProReads or any ProReads on the site, and you will get a member-exclusive discount code to give you double the discount on a subscription to Visual Edge. To be honest with you folks, if you're thinking about Visual Edge, the subscription to InGoal will pay for itself with that discount. So check it out now. See the puck better. Make more saves. All as a member of InGoal magazine and save money too. So this week's, this is a tough one, Darren. I'm going to ask you a question about this week's ProReads from Eric Comrie. And he talks about how him and Connor Hellebuyck talk about these types of plays. 3-on-1, coming down the wing. Doesn't matter which wing, Darren. Pass goes to the middle. High in the zone off a 3-on-1 rush. Where is that pass most likely headed next?
Off the guy's forehand.
Okay, handedness plays a role. Eric Comrie has a bit of a cheat code, like I said, that he's discussed with Connor Hellebuyck. They talk about this all the time. That goes beyond just which hand he is. I don't want to give it away. I want to make everybody go back and read the pro read.
Well, this sucks today, and you guys won't tell me anything.
Sorry, Darren, but I'm pretty sure you have a subscription. Log in, because it is and according to them, now I haven't gone through every 3-on-1 this year. Actually, I should do that. I could actually go through, thanks to my friend over at ClearSight Analytics, I could click on 3-on-1s and watch every one this season and see how often this happens. But Eric and Connor are pretty sure that there is obviously you're looking for other cues. And Darren, you picked a great one. Handedness is part of it. But they're pretty sure they figured out where that next pass goes 99% of the time. And they play it accordingly.
Well, does the guy that hasn't touched the puck yet get the puck?
I'm not giving anything away, Darren.
I want to know.
It's like a 2-on-0. Do you always pass on the 2-on-0?
Oh, we didn't score in a key 2-on-0 in the Cardiac Cup last night, and I knew it the whole time he was going down. I'm like, pass early, pass early, pass early, or don't pass. Goalie cheated it, loaded up, and we slammed it into his pads. It was killing me.
It brings up the question, though, guys. These amazing tips we get for pro reads, situations that NHL guys expect to happen. I wonder how often they translate for us beer leaguers, because the players aren't quite as smart or quite as structured. And you got to be
Have
careful.
you played in my skate too?
Yeah, you got to be careful what you're listening to.
You played with my guys?
It's fascinating because it informs how I watch the NHL game. Not sure it informs how I'd be playing beer league.
Well, here's the funny part. Beer league is obviously a different thing, but we know this on 2-on-0s, right? Like, of course you're loading up for the pass on the 2-0. Yeah. And then when the guy shoots and inevitably scores, which our guy would have done too, because I could see the goalie cheating from the other side of the ice. If they shoot and hold it on a 2-0 at anything other than pro level, you're like, who holds it? Like, and you get scored on, you're immediately chirping, who takes a shot on a 2-0?
Selfish. I'm screaming at the guy.
And you say, but NHL, wasn't it Alex Lyon who told us a couple of his pro reads? I knew this guy would do this because if he went back to the bench having done that, he's going to get stapled to the bench. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so psychology plays a role in here. So, folks, there's some great insights as well. I don't want to forget. Eric also goes on, like I said, real student of the game, talks a lot about the importance of playing inside the post to him. Again, not for everyone. Everybody has different, but this is a trend we're seeing in the NHL, sort of a more contained style. He talks about how him and Hellebuyck focus on this and how he works on it on a daily basis in practice. So our pro reads this week with Eric Comrie is more than just a pro reads. It's a pro tips as well. There's so much great information in there. If you're not a subscriber to InGoal Magazine Premium already, make sure you go check it out at ingoalmag.com. Get a subscription, check out the pro reads, and save money on Vizual Edge.
I have a split strategy on 2-0s. If it's beer league, I'm playing the pass. I'm cheating the pass, knowing they're going to pass. If it's higher level, I'm guarding against the pass back because I'm pretty sure that they're going to throw it back and forth on me. So that's my strategy on with better players.
And on my skates with better players, that's where I find they most often hold and shoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't cheat as much, but I'm also very conscious of that pass back. Stop It Goaltending U, the app, presenting our parent segment as Hutch gets to give us some life lessons.
Before we get to Hutch, though, we got to talk about our friends over at Stop It Goaltending U, the app. Do you want 25 years of NHL goalie coaching experience at your fingertips? That's what you get with a subscription to Stop It Goaltending U, the app. All the knowledge from Brian DeCord, who's been an NHL goalie coach, scout, and director, as well as all the insights and expertise from a staff at Stop It Goaltending that includes a long list of veteran NCAA coaches. It's all delivered in easy-to-digest chunks, including 5 short daily primers, weekly style analysis and breakdown videos, and drills that you can take onto the ice with your team and coach. Plus, you get included an InGoal magazine subscription. So check it out now at the App Store or Google Play and get the best of both worlds to make you a better goaltender with a subscription to the Stop It Goaltending U app and a subscription to InGoal magazine.
Hutch.
This week, guys, I got a great question from one of our listeners. He is a goalie coach whose son just carried his 10U team to a championship as the only goalie in his age group for the organization. And now it's time to move up to 12U, but he's got a fork in the road. On the B team, where he'd be the only goalie, he, of course, gets the maximum number of reps. On the A team, where he'd be in a tandem, and in Dad's words, have to fight for starts. He's asking, is there more value in playing 100% of the games at a lower level, or embrace the A-team challenge and teach him the mental toughness of competing for a starting role? Now, before I answer, I want to pick at one phrase because I want to make sure we're talking about the right thing here. The phrase is fight for starts. And I want to be clear here, I am not picking at Dad. He's a goalie coach. He's just using the language the organization uses, the language the hockey world throws around. That's not the problem. The problem is what the language signals about how a lot of organizations are approaching 12-year-old, 11-year-old goaltenders. So let me rant up here for a minute, and then I'll get to the actual answer, because this dad has set up the right question. I do want to do the question justice, but this is what drives me crazy about where minor hockey has landed on this. We have built a culture where 11 and 12-year-old goalies are asked to carry the emotional weight of junior-style competition for a crease. Coaches talk about earning your starts at age 11, like it's some sacred developmental right. Parents hear it, they repeat it, they internalize it. It's garbage. I don't buy it. The pressure and pain of fighting for starts at higher levels does not need to be rehearsed at age 11. That is not where resilience comes from. A 19-year-old goalie who handles getting pulled, getting traded, getting sent down, that kid was not forged on an 11-year-old bench. That's not the mechanism. Resilience comes from involved parents who expose their kids to a wide variety of life experiences, and from a kid knowing in his bones that mom and dad are there no matter what. That's the foundation. The kids who burn out by 15 aren't the ones who played too much at the lower level. They're the ones who learned too early that hockey wasn't something they got to do. It was something they had to constantly earn every practice, every game, every start. So when an organization tells an 11-year-old that he's got to fight for starts, my pushback isn't at the dad, it's at the organization for framing it that way in the first place. Junior hockey's hard, but you don't prepare a kid for hard by making his childhood hard. You prepare him by being the soft place he lands when it does get harder. Okay, rant over. Let me get to the actual question, because this dad named the tension perfectly. He says, and I quote, "As a parent, my instinct is to want him on the ice as much as possible. As a coach, I know the reality of higher level hockey involves splitting time and earning your spot." That's the whole thing right there. Every one of us who works in this game and has kids in it feels it constantly. And I want to validate his coach brain because it's not wrong. Sharing a net is a real skill. Being part of a tandem, pushing each other, supporting each other, handling the nights where you're not starting with grace. That is part of being a goalie at a higher level, and at some point, his son does need to earn it. But here's the distinction that unlocks this decision. There's a difference between learning to share a net and fighting for starts. One builds a teammate, the other introduces a pressure dynamic that 12-year-olds don't need. So the real question isn't tandem or no tandem, it's what kind of tandem is the A-team actually going to be? And here's how I'd work through it. First, ask your son what he wants. He's old enough to have a real opinion. His answer doesn't settle it, but of course it's got to be in the mix. Second, press the A-team coach hard. Is this a real 50-50 tandem? Or is one kid the starter and the other plays Tuesday nights? A real tandem with a coach who rotates fairly and communicates, awesome environment. A fake tandem where your kid's the 1B and knows it, worst of both worlds, no reps, no confidence, no identity. Ask about goalie coaching. Ask about practice structure. Ask whether the A-team will be competitive or whether your kid's facing 45 shots a night behind a stretch roster. And then weigh the B-team honestly as well. Maximum reps at 11 builds pattern recognition, compete habits, and confidence that are very hard to manufacture later. A kid who spends a year as the clear guy, winning games, making big saves and pressure moments, that's real. But check that there's goalie support at that level too, so it's not a year of grooving bad habits. So here's where I'd lean. If the A-team coach can look you in the eye and commit to a real even tandem with genuine goalie support, take it. If the answer's vague, or if you're reading between the lines that your kid is the 1B, take the B team in a heartbeat. Workhorse year, let him be the guy. Tandem experience can come next year. There is no developmental cliff he's falling off by waiting 12 months. And one last thing here, dad to dad. Your son won a championship at 10U as the only goalie in his age group. That kid already knows how to compete. He's got the foundation. Don't let an organization convince you it needs to be stress tested at 12. Ask your son what he wants, press the A-team coach on what the tandem actually looks like, and then trust that the mental toughness piece will come from you, not from sitting on a bench. Great email. Thank you. As always, we love hearing from everybody. parents@ingoalmag.com.
Any play off that, Woody?
I mean, I've given similar advice, but nowhere near as nuanced or as well thought out as Hutch to friends whose kids play the position. Especially in those early years, I'll remember that was because they're similar ages to my daughters, and was staring at a, A4, which is like the fourth tier of AAA hockey up here, or house decision. And my thought process was twofold. One, at A4, is there two goalies? And the answer was yes. So half your time was spent sitting on the bench. Two, other than getting the tracksuit, is A4 and being able to say you're on a rep team, is it really that much better than house? And the answer was sort of not so sure. And my advice was to put him in a spot where he get to play, where if there was another goalie, he could go play out. I mean, at those ages. And he did. And funny enough, despite being all of 5'10", this young man is now playing college hockey. So, to Hutch's point, like, these decisions need to be made not with a path towards pro in mind and some of the things that we get thrown at us. They need to be made with the kids in mind and what's the best thing for them. And sometimes the answers end up coming back the same. The chance to play, the chance to develop at a really young age, rather than spending half your time on the bench and getting a tracksuit and being able to say your rep. The answers will vary for different kids and different parents, but thinking about it in the terms that Hutch laid out makes a ton of sense.
Adam Gajan with us this week on the NHL Sense Arena feature interview. Before we get to Adam and his great story, and there's a lot in this discussion, let's check in on our friends at NHL Sense Arena.
Yeah, thank you to NHL Sense Arena for bringing us this week's feature interview, as they always do. And if you're a goalie and you're not in NHL Sense Arena, here's your nudge. They run goalie competitions like this all the time. Right now, they've got the 2026 Stanley Cup Playoff Goalie Competition. 10 drills, you're chasing a leaderboard, there are gift cards and free months of Sense Arena on the line. First place, a $500 gift card, so you can buy yourself some new gear. Second place, $250. Here's the thing, your top score is what counts, not a cumulative score. So even if you're hearing this with just a couple days left, you can jump in, grind out a run, and land on that leaderboard. But here's the bigger point. In January, they ran the Pavel Barber Canadian Challenge. Now it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. There'll be another one in the summer and the fall and into next season. Grab Sense Arena today, and you're in the mix for every leaderboard, every prize, every competition. Plus, they're always updating NHL Sense Arena, and the newest drop is genuinely fun. You can now face roller hockey shots from Nasher with a few surprise moves thrown in to wreck your reactions. Mom and Dad, if you don't know who the heck that is, ask your kids. And if you do know who that is, you must be as cool as Kevin Woodley.
I know who it is. I actually do.
Better reps, real stakes, all off season long. NHL Sense Arena. Grab it today. And of course, use the code IGM50 to save even more.
Woody, you're so cool.
You know what? I didn't actually have to look that one up. I barely know who he is, but I know who he is. I do know enough to know that I would not want to stop shots from him in real life because it would be humiliating. But in virtual reality, I can do it in my basement. And thanks to not telling Hutch in advance, no one will see.
Woody has a life goal, I think, Darren. Nasher has come in to shoot on goalies. Woody wants to be in the player version of NHL Sense Arena. Shoot on goaltending celebrity Kevin Woodley.
I can hear already what the promo for that would be like. Build your confidence as a shooter, as a scorer. Oh,
Pete Fry, if you're listening and you're coming out with a players module, we've got an idea.
Listen, folks, we could have just run the Adam Gajan interview as the promo for NHL Sense Arena. He talks about how he's planning on using it this summer and how important a tool it can be for goalies that don't have access to regular ice. So just one of many things that Adam gets into in this interview. There's so much here. His experience at the Olympics, the adjustments he made in his game to go from struggling in his first year of NCAA to excelling this most recent season and ultimately signing with the Chicago Blackhawks and getting into and stopping 33 of 36 in his first ever pro game in the American Hockey League. So Adam's been on the podcast before with Hutch. Early second round pick, 2023, I believe the first goalie drafted that year. Just a fantastic young man with a real passion for the position, and it shines through. Thankfully for us, willing to share the experiences and the learning he's gone through directly with our audience. You're going to love this interview. I did enjoy doing it, and I know everybody's going to take something out of this that they can either add to their game or just a lesson that will help them along the way.
Enjoy our NHL Sense Arena feature interview with Adam Gajan on InGoal Radio, the podcast.
Really excited to welcome back to the InGoal Radio podcast, and excited to say an InGoal Radio podcast listener, freshly signed with the Chicago Blackhawks, coming off his NCAA season, Adam Gajan. Adam, how are you?
I'm really good.
As we were just talking about off air, tough when your season ends. earlier than you want. The Final Four going on right now, the Frozen Four going on right now. You want to be there, but nice consolation prize when you sign a first pro contract. How excited are you to take this next step with the Chicago Blackhawks?
Yeah, I've been really excited. As I told you before, I wish it was 2 weeks later and I was in Vegas right now, but there are only 4 teams that can be there, and unfortunately it didn't happen for us. But I'm really excited to move to pro hockey and be done with school, because I'm not a big fan of school, so really excited to play pro.
What was that experience? Walk me through your last couple of years at the University of Minnesota-Duluth. Okay, we don't have to do from a school perspective, but walk me through from the hockey perspective, because the last time we talked to you, it was coming out of the draft and hadn't started college yet. What's it been like from the development of your game from a learning standpoint on the ice?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like coming to college from juniors, like it's different hockey, right? Like everyone's older, faster, bigger. I feel like I made a huge improvement, like when you compare my first and second year. Not just like looking at the stats, but even like how my game is. I feel really, really comfortable where I'm heading. There's still so much more ahead, but I think like especially last summer with my goalie coach back in Slovakia, we did so much work, and I think that helped me just play a lot more calmer, reading the game better, and kind of don't be all over the place like before. And I'm very athletic goalie, and I'm just trying to use it when I need to, not all the time. So I think this year was huge about it.
Okay, so Peter Kosa, I believe, is your goalie coach back in Slovakia. Do I have that? That's still the right person?
I work with him as well. He was my goalie coach at the World Juniors, but every day I work with Dusan Volk. He was my goalie coach before I came to USA. So he was my goalie coach in my team 4 and 6 years ago. So I'm really close with him. I work with him really closely. So
okay,
I work with him in summer.
Want to make sure we give the plugs the right way. So when you talk about, we know how talented you are and how athletic you can be. When you talk about not using it as much and being calmer, I think people that have watched your game probably can see it, but what's the process to getting there? Because it's one thing to say it and to want to do it, but how did you, how do you sort of refine that part of your game, that part of your style?
I think you just realizing that you don't have to do as much as you think, that if you are in the right spot, puck will just hit you most of the time, and you don't have to move as much as you think you do. So I think just like in summer, like we've watched so much video, just like, watching NHL clips and just trying to read the game, like kind of reading the rush, right? So like the goalie coach played the clip as the team is getting into the zone, and then just put something else on. And I had to kind of remember, if the players were lefty, righty, it was like 3-on-2, or like if there was passing options, and just trying to read the game. And I think that also helped me then. Actually, it was hard because I haven't played game for 6 months, right? Like college break is really long. I was trying to think about it. And then we started playing, and right away I felt like my reads were so much better than at the end of the last season. So just with that way, I never really worked much on reading the game. And I think last year was the first time I actually started working on it, and I think it helped me so much.
Oh, I love that. So you actually, like you were basically studying NHL film and not just watching it, but sort of having little quizzes as you went. Like it actually kind of feels like the way we do pro reads. We show little screenshots and we'll say, hey, what information are you looking for here? It sounds like you went through that with your coach last summer.
Yeah, I mean, I always look at your pro reads and, like listen to your podcast. And I said, I think it's great to hear from pro goalies, not just NHL goalies, but even goalies playing in Europe or other college goalies, right? Like everyone, knows something else, and you can learn something from every goal, on any level. But I feel like just doing it pretty much every other day, a lot of clips just helped me actually start thinking about it. And then, like I said, practice is different, right? Because you have a lot less information there. But then coming into the game, I was like, wow, like I'm surprised how much easier the game feels right now. And I know there is still way to go, that it can be even a lot easier than it was this year, right? So I think I'll try to keep the same thing this summer, and hopefully next year it's even better.
It sounds like that's some great advice for young kids listening right now. Like we hear a lot about, hey, kids don't watch enough hockey, they don't read the game, but you're going through it you're doing it in a very purposeful manner. I love that.
Yeah, and even just like watching the game, like you can just watch the game as a fan, but you can also watch the game as a goalie, right? And it's like, I think I do both. Like I have times that I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna watch hockey game.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, like doesn't matter who's the goalie, because again, like I'm a huge fan of, guys like Vasilevsky or Bobrovsky. But even when he's like Connor Hellebuyck, like he's super calm in it. I'm like, I can learn so much from him. So there, let's say I'm watching game as a fan for 10 minutes and I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus on a goalie for the next 10, right? So I think there are two sides how you can watch the game.
Well, and even when you're watching as a fan, you're probably still picking things up. You may not be focusing as much.
Yeah,
but it's
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
You talk about, how many times you're in position and the puck's coming at you. That we always hear sort of let it come as a phrase. It's really easy to say, sometimes hard to do. Do you think just studying the game made it easier, or were there other elements of having that patience to sort of let the game come to you that you worked on or focused on in different ways?
I think reading the game was the biggest thing.
Okay.
And then I think just like I started playing a lot deeper. Like last year, let's say that there was rush coming to my zone and the players were, on the red line and I was already out of my crease. Now the play is almost at the blue line. I'm still kind of, almost on a goal line, just kind of still like, looking where the players are. And I'm like, oh, like when you watch the video, most of the time that the player that enters the zone with the puck is not the guy who actually scores, right? So that's why when you realize it, you are like, okay, like I don't really need to be worried about the guy with the puck so much, and you can look at what the other options are and just take more time. So I think just like first read is the most important, and then just like be confident, like, okay, like if that guy shoots it, it's easy save, but look at what are bigger threats, and they will help you make those harder saves look a lot easier.
Is that something you worked on in the summer? Because that's a trend for sure that we're seeing at all levels, especially the NHL, like that old out early and retreat. We now see guys maybe halfway up their crease, like you said, sometimes on the goal line, sometimes maybe toes on the edge of the crease, waiting in that puck until that puck is in the zone, and quite often waiting for that first pass before they make their move and step out, because they know if they're out early and that pass comes early, it's just so much further to travel.
Yeah, I think that was like by far the biggest thing we work on the ice all summer. I feel like for the first maybe almost 2 months, like we didn't do anything else than rushes, because I feel like that was the biggest thing we wanted to improve, right? And I feel like you always have to work on your skating and all the other stuff, but I think I was really good at it, and I think I wasn't great in like reading the game and like kind of having that patience and be just more relaxed in my stance. So literally like 3 times a week, all we did for our everyday was just like rushes and just like being calm and like feeling comfortable, right? And like I said, it's not like in a game, but then when we started playing after 6 months, I was like, oh, like the game actually feels a lot easier and I have more time.
You can, and you're seeing things when you're deep. Like, I've had guys say that when they're way out there, you sort of lose things on your peripheral, but when you're sitting back watching it, it's almost like driving a car. You have this huge field of vision in front of you.
Yeah, for sure. And like now I feel like even if we are in our own zone and like we turn it over and there is rush coming in, like the puck is so far from me, I'm already like looking at what the options are. I wasn't never really doing that before, right? So I feel like this year I made a huge step in that. I mean, for sure it can be still so much better. Like there are times I get still just like focus on a puck, but I think like when I compare it to my first year in college, like it's a huge improvement.
Oh, and it must be nice. It must be nice to do all that work and then have it translate.
Yeah, for sure. Like sometimes you do things and you don't see the result right away. And I think that was probably case maybe in the past years for me, that like things weren't going the best, but I feel like I was getting better and I was on the right path. But I feel like this year, I don't feel like my numbers were perfect or great, but I think like they're for sure better than the year before. But especially like the way I was playing, I was so much more happy about it than the year before.
And that's what matters most, right? Can't pay too much attention to the numbers, especially in today's game. It's changing so fast. I'm curious because we know how good a skater you are, how well you move, how athletic you can be. but you mentioned stance and being in a more relaxed stance and letting it come to you. Did you find from a fatigue standpoint that you had more energy through games doing it this way?
Oh, I never really talked about it before on any interview or podcast, but this is about goalies, right? So my first year of college, I honestly never felt worse in that. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, I was just overheating like crazy. Like, it was so much harder for me to breathe. So I changed a lot of stuff, but I think the part of it was also in my brain that I wanted to be always so fast and like stop everything. And now, like I said, it's probably not just about that, but I think like my mindset just being more relaxed, I think that for sure helped me. Because like I said, the first year of college, I was like, what is happening with me? Like, I'm 20 years old and, I don't know how much longer I can play hockey if I will feel like that. And this year, I felt great in it, so it was huge difference. And I think just my mindset and like being calm and think the game like, oh, it's a lot easier than I think that for sure helped me.
I was going to say, it's the one position in sports. I actually just wrote a column on this for the NHL playoffs for NHL.com. It's the one position in sports where you can't just try harder.
Yeah. And that's always hard, right? When things are not going well.
Yeah. You want to work harder.
Exactly. And sometimes that's not the right answer, So yeah, just figure out stuff and I know that like when we will talk in, a couple of years, I'll be so much better than I'm right now. Like I feel like I'm pretty good goalie right now, but there's still so much more room for improvement, which is great, right? Because I can get on another level. So
I love that you're excited about it too. Like I remember listening to the first interview. It was my business partner, David Hutchison, that talked to you 3 years ago after the draft. And you seem to be a real passionate student of the position. So the idea that it's constantly changing and there's constantly room to improve, like it seems like you're genuinely excited about that. Have you thought about, are there any things in particular this summer that you want to work on, or is it just sort of continuing down the same path of last summer?
I think it'll be pretty similar. I just got to Rockford a week ago and they have great goalie coach, Matt Smith. So just working with him, literally like last 5 days, I feel like I did more work with him than, since I got drafted in last 3 years in season, So he's been great to me. Obviously, it's tough because it's 4 of us, 4 goalies when I came up, but I've been working with him a lot. And I feel like the biggest things will be just try to be more relaxed and bigger in my stance, right? Like that's what we focus on right now. And he's so much into details, which I think will help me so much, And I said it last week when I did some interview, I was like, especially like people in Slovakia, like I sign and they think like, oh, like I'm going to NHL next year, I'm going to be earning $1 million. I'm like, no, that's not the case. Like there's still, far away to go to make it to the NHL as a full-time goalie. But like I said, I know I'm not even close to where I can be as a goaltender. So it's kind of exciting that, like I'm already at this level, but I can be still so much better when I figure some stuff out. So there's still so much more ahead.
And you've got some great people to work with. You mentioned Matt Smith, not a guy that we've had the pleasure of talking to on the podcast, but a lot of the goalies he works with in the off season, we have guys like Jet Greaves just rave about the work he does. And obviously, even before he started working for Rockford, it seemed like every goalie coming out of Ontario and having success worked with Matt Smith. So how do you go into, I'm guessing because you're drafted, you've probably had some interaction with him, but what's it like now you're on the ice, you're working with him every day, sort of almost like building a new relationship? Any advice for other goalies to, how best to approach that? It sounds like you bring a real open mind to it.
Yeah, I already knew him a little bit from last couple of dev camps, but it's just for a week, right? Like you kind of work with him on the ice for a week. It was great. I feel like especially for me, like last year I was the only one skating and because players are not skating at the Blackhawks dev camps. So last year it was only me. The year before it was 2 of us. So like last year it was just me on the ice with 4 coaches, right? So it was great for me and like all the focus was about my game. So we had so much time, but it was still only 4 skates or something like that. So now I feel like, there are a couple more weeks in AHL season, then I'll go back home more with my goalie coach. But I feel like coming back next year and working with him every day, I think that was probably the biggest reason why I was like, okay, like I really want to sign because I wanted to work with Matt Smith. I think that will help my game so much.
any little things in particular you can talk about? I mean, I know you're just there. This has just happened. It's all real fast. We talk about he's such a detailed guy, and I've heard that too. Really into sort of the mechanics of movement and things like that. And I know you had some exposure to some of the new thoughts on that. Is there anything in particular you can share?
Like I said, mainly there wasn't so much time. But like I said, the biggest thing is just like being more relaxed and bigger in my stance.
So like a little more narrow?
Yeah, a little more narrow with my feet, but the biggest thing was my upper body. Like kind of I feel like my hands, like I'm almost like with my glove, like kind of almost covering my shoulders. So just maybe playing with like changing my glove positioning, but like what's comfortable for me, right?
Right, yeah.
And then I think big thing, what I also hate, like I feel like this season I was just, okay, like let's play, but in summer, like I was thinking about it a lot. I feel like when the shot is released, like your brain needs a little bit of time to pick it up and react. And I feel like my first thought after shot is released is that I gotta move fast. And I have little pre-movement with my glove. Like let's say the shot is coming low and I still like do this kind of movement.
Like a little,
kind of
like a little primer.
Yeah, like kind of towards my body. And then I react, no matter where the shot is going. So we're just kind of like playing with that. Like if changing glove positioning will help with that. But then I also think that the biggest thing will be just like my brain, right? Like be confident, like, okay, like I need to move less than what I think I have to. And I have more time than what I think to make the save. So just like leave my hands where they are and just make the save, wait for puck. So I think that was the biggest thing. And I mean, he already mentioned a lot more stuff, but like I said, I've been here for a week. So I think that's like great. Next year will be great for me to work with him.
And I guess that's the thing, right? Like now the summer's the time to think about it, right? And as you said, once you get back, once the game starts, you can still work on things in season, but a lot of it is just feeling comfortable, feeling confident and going out and playing. Any tricks that you had this year to go from, thinking about the game and processing it and just when it starts, maybe turning that off and just going out and playing on instinct? That balance between those two worlds?
Yeah, I feel like especially like at a younger age, like you always want to get better, right? And like try new things in practice and what might help your game. But then when it's time to play, it's just time to play, right? So I feel like that this year, like my biggest focus was just playing the games. And like I always like try to in the morning like write some things down, like what I want to work on. But mainly like for me, like I said, my biggest focus was just be big, be relaxed, like just, have my shoulders up because very often I make myself a lot smaller than I actually am, So just like those little things, because I was like, yeah, like I'm not going to change a lot in season. So just focus on what's most important, like be big, be relaxed, read the game, like just those little things.
So if you don't mind me asking, you said writing things down. Are you a guy that, we know a lot of goalies right up to the NHL that keep journals that, want to think they write it down so then they see when things are going well, they can look back and see what they were doing and maybe the other way too. Are you an active journaler? Is that something you do on a regular basis or?
So I heard about it a lot, but I was never doing it in my life.
Okay.
And they always make us do it at a dev camp. I mean, last few years, but I always was doing it at dev camp with, mental coaches and stuff like that. But then I kind of stopped doing it, But this year I was like, okay, like let's try doing it, So I started doing it at the last dev camp, as I said, and then I just kept doing it till now. And another great thing for me, the goalie that came this year to Duluth, Cole Sheffield, he's working with Pete Fry. So he was my old roommate. So I think that also helped me a lot. Like he came from juniors, didn't play a single game this year, but as an example that you can also learn from other guys, right? Not just from NHL guys, as I said. And he's been working with Pete Fry for a long time. And I listened to, podcasts that Pete Fry did with you and like a lot of work he does. And I love it. So I think just he gave me some stuff for him and I tried to do it even more. So I think that also helped me.
Oh, nice. I love it. You, my friend, are a true student of the position. So you're our favorite type of goaltender to talk to. I got to ask, is this just who you are? Like, it's funny because you said, you weren't a big fan of school. necessarily. But like, have you always had a curious mind when it comes to goaltending? And are there times where you have to be careful not to try to do too much or change too much as well, and sort of dial in on who you are as a goaltender and not always look for the next thing? Is that a balancing act sometime?
I think that's not a huge thing that helped me be better this year.
Okay.
Because I've been just doing way too much. And people been telling me that for years. So I feel like that I wouldn't change it though, because I think I did so much more work than most of the guys that it helped me to get on this level. But let's say even in juniors or my first year in college, like I was spending at the rink almost 8 or 10 hours a day, just like after every practice, like doing more stuff. I come home, I do, my eye workout, Visual Edge. Last year I got into Sense Arena a little bit, at the end of the season. So all those stuff are great, but I feel like for me, I've been doing way too much that then when the game came, my mind probably was like, I don't want to say sick of hockey, but I've been, at the ring like last 4 days for 10 hours, and then we have 2 more games and stuff like that. So I maybe wasn't so sharp. This year, I still feel like I was probably leaving the ring as the last guy, but I started doing a lot less things, And I think that also helped me just like, okay, like let's do the work. But I did so much work in last 5 years more than anyone else that I don't have to be at the ring 10 hours a day, do Visual Edge, 5 times a week, do Sense Arena 5 times a week. Like it's okay to tone it down, And I think that helped me so much this year, just realizing it.
No, that's we've heard that before too. I think of Thatcher Demko, and we're guilty at InGoal, right? We show all these little tools that guys use, and sometimes, people will pick 1 up and then 2 up and then 3 up. And next thing you know, you have 8 things you're doing before a game starts and you're consumed by it and you're tired before the puck drops. So it's a great lesson. You mentioned both Visual Edge and Sense Arena. I got to ask, because they're both companies that we've done work with. You obviously saw some benefits there. So even though you scaled back, what were some of the benefits of using those products? Maybe start with Visual Edge for us.
Yeah, so Visual Edge, I also have a eye doctor in Czech that I started work with 2 summers ago. So I have more stuff that are not like on a computer.
Okay.
But I've been using Visual Edge like maybe last 5 years. And like I said, I've been using it like a lot, maybe even more than I should have. But I think it helped me. But this year, I use it, let's say, maybe every other week I did like a session, but then before every game, like before I went to the ring, I did like a game day thing.
So like a warm.
So I've been using it mainly on a game days this year, and I think that just like again like gets your brain going, before a game.
So brain is my brain and the eyes, but it's funny.
Yeah,
we think of it Visual Edge as the eyes, but we've heard guys talk about it. It's also there's a cognitive element. You're sort of warming up both at the same time.
Yeah, I think it kind of works together, right? Like brain and eyes. So I think it's just good to, like I said, I use it always like before I go to the ring. So it's like 2.5 hours before the game. But, I think it's pretty good. Like I always take a nap, do my visualizing and everything. And then the last thing I do before I go to the ring is do Visual Edge. So I think it just like gets me going before I even make it to the ring and start warming up for a game.
Okay, you already mentioned Sense Arena, NHL Sense Arena as well. We've talked about Pete Fry. He's now in NHL Sense Arena. You could do his visualizations. Where does NHL, again, I know you've backed off all your tools, using them a little less, but is that still part of the routine, even if it's less often? And how do you use it?
So I started using it like late last year, and actually I probably I used it once before the home games last year, because it was like 2 last home games of the season. I actually had maybe the best weekend of the season. But like I said, this summer I really changed my mindset. So I barely use it this season, but I just talked to them. Actually, they texted me after I signed. So I need new subscription, because I haven't been using it for a while. But I was like, yeah, like, especially I feel like my body will need rest from skating, So I think that will be good for me to just like, again, not really being on the ice so my body can rest, but see some pucks, And I feel like for young goalies, like last year I was doing it, we get off the ice and I do Sense Arena to see more pucks. And this year, like I said, I changed my mindset. I was like, okay, I probably don't need to do it, right? So I feel like for young goalies that maybe are not getting so much ice time, or maybe not getting goalie coaching or some good goalie drills, I think it's a great tool for them. Like you can replace actually on-ice session with anything, but it's the closest you can get.
I love it. I love it. Well, and the one thing you're about to discover in the American Hockey League and in pro hockey that I've talked to a few guys about is traffic is crazy. It's never been harder to find pucks. It's never been more purposeful than it is now. And we've had a few guys talk about, in that GAP program, the goalie advancement program, they added the screen one. And so there's whole sessions in there that are just about, seeing and picking lanes and knowing what shoulder to be on as the puck moves around and finding pucks. And I think that one in NHL Sense Arena, especially for the off season, because you don't have to be on the ice. And it's so hard to work on screens because nobody wants to shoot at teammates and nobody wants to be the teammate getting hit by it. I feel like that's another good one, good area where it could be a tool in the off season to get used to finding pucks through all those bodies you're about to face in pro hockey.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you can really work on screens a lot in off season because, like you said, the players don't really want to get in front of it,
Yeah.
So I think, that will be big,
What is the plan? So you're in Rockford now. How does the rest of the summer look for you? What you talked about not being as consumed, not spending 10 hours, not getting off the ice after 2 hours and doing another hour of virtual reality. Do you plan a break into this? Like, is it important for you to get away for a little bit once you're done there?
Yeah. So probably right after I'm done in Rockford, I gotta fly home to go to national team and hopefully make the World Championship team. So I'm hoping I'll be playing hockey till end of May, Okay. So I still have
lots to go, hopefully.
Yeah, a lot more weeks to go. But then in the off season, I'll take a few weeks off, and I started golfing, which is another big thing. Like I feel like I never got excited about anything else than hockey almost. Like I've been just thinking about hockey 24/7, for years. And last summer I started golfing, and I got a lot better in it, and if you're decent in golf is so much fun, right? So I'm actually really excited for this summer to golf for the first time because last year I was just kind of picking it up. So
I love it. I love it. Those are two good obsessions. And you know what? We always talk about the similarities because I think the golf swing, especially with modern coaching, they break down the biomechanics of it, much like we do with goalies. And yet there's a lot of people that once they get out there, it's just, you got to be able to just swing. And also much like goaltending, you can't usually get away with just swinging harder.
Exactly. Like now, actually, in Rockford, there's one Slovak guy and he never golfed before. We went last few days and I'm not great, but I'm kind of trying to teach him, what I know.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing I told him, you don't need to go so hard, just relax and it'll be easier, if you have a good contact and don't hit it so hard, the ball will go far and where you want it to go. So that's same as with goaltending, sometimes just relax, So yeah, it's pretty similar in that way.
Yeah, tension is the enemy, right? We don't want to be tense. We want to be relaxed and be able to move in a relaxed manner. I almost forgot to congratulate. You're an Olympian. How cool is that experience? You are an Olympic athlete. That's pretty cool. Did you get there in time? Were you able to take part in any of the ceremonies before or after, to really embrace the full experience? And what are your biggest takeaways from that, being around it and that experience?
Yeah, it was super cool. Obviously I didn't get to play a game, but before the season, that was one of my goals, and I was I'm the only college player at the Olympics. It's really cool to just be part of it, and yeah, I've been to opening ceremony, just walking there with my country in front of 80,000 people with all the athletes. It was really cool. And I think the best part of Olympics for me was just seeing all the athletes, but for me, obviously, especially all the NHL players, just around you. Actually, the day after opening ceremony, I went to the gym in a village and I was stretching and there was Jeremy Swayman and Jay Gajan right next to me. And I was how cool is that? And I actually went to grab a dumbbell or something and Ara was right there. And I just said, I was hi, I'm Goalie from Slovakia. And he was I actually remember watching at the World Juniors in the green gear. So I thought that was really cool that top 5 goalie in the world like knows who I am. And then I talked to him for a little bit. I actually skated with his goalie coach a few years ago. And I got on the bike and he jumped next to me. So I talked to him for like 20 minutes. So that was probably one of the coolest things for me. Just, have a conversation with, one of the best goalies in the NHL and, not just say hi to him or see him, but actually talk to him about, his transition from college to pro and like other stuff, and just like kind of try to learn from him. So that was really cool.
Well, he's not just a top 5 goalie in the NHL. He's one of the top people in the NHL. So I'm not surprised you guys had a great conversation. That just puts a huge smile on my face envisioning that and hearing you say that. That's exciting. Any other experiences that jump out? Kind of hard to top that one.
Yeah, I mean, that was, like I said, like that was the only time I actually talked to someone for longer period of time and actually had longer conversation with them. But like just, like you are on the ice, like I was doing scratch skate one night and that was Team Canada warming up like right behind the glass, like Crosby, McDavid and all those guys. Like it's just really cool. Like every single day you're getting food and there are those players next to you, right? Like one day I was getting pasta and there was Connor Hellebuyck right next to me, and like just, like kind of, I told goalie coach, like, that's really cool. And he was like, well, better get used to it, right? But coming out of college, it's just really cool, to see those players. So yeah, that was great.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, hey, I mean, you talk about the green gear. Have you got anything in the works for, like, have you thought about equipment for next season? Have you thought about style points? Do you try and keep a low profile when you're a first year pro or do you go for a little style points?
I don't know. I kind of went out in my gear for the Olympics. First, I thought I'll just keep it simple. And I was like, well, it's Olympics once in 4 years, right? So I think I had pretty cool setup and some details that you can't even really see from far,
Okay.
But I feel like next year, I actually already made a gear and was going to order it more than a month ago with Bauer, but I didn't get NHL measured yet at any of the dev camps, so I had to wait with that. So that's why I don't have new gear right now. But I mean, I switched to Bauer a few years ago and they've been just unbelievable to me. So yeah, I'll probably keep it pretty simple for next year.
But you always have the option with the DigiPrint, right? You can do whatever you want with it.
Exactly.
You like that.
Yeah. I feel like, like my first year of college, I was like, okay, like I probably have, like in pro, you don't really do any crazy setups, right? But I'm like, I'm in college, I can kind of try, do something special and go crazy. So I put logo on my pads and stuff like that. But this year I just went all maroon and I love it. It was simple but dark. So that was really cool. And then again, with the Olympics, I was like, should I just do normal design or should I do DigiPrint? And I was like, let's try some DigiPrint, but keep it low key, But then I think, just mounting is actually pretty similar than, compared to what I had at the World Juniors, just more special, I would say. So I think next year I will probably stay away from DigiPrint and just do normal design.
Like I said, I know you didn't get into a game, but do you keep the gear? Where's the gear? Is that like, I mean, it's still your Olympic set. I mean, what a cool thing to be an Olympian. It's a short list. It's a pretty special accomplishment, Adam. Do you keep that gear? Does it go on display somewhere back home, or how do you?
Yeah. I have the gear. And I'm planning on keeping it. I also have my World Junior gears and all of that. And one day when I have my house, I'm planning on having room with all those stuff, jerseys, gear, sticks, and stuff like that. But right now it's just somewhere it's somewhere home. But like I said, one day when I have my own house and have more space and just in my room, right now, like I'll for sure put it out and have pretty cool room of, jerseys, gear, and all that stuff. So yeah.
You're still young, so lots of time for that stuff. But I'm glad to hear you're keeping it and putting it away. Last couple questions. I know with Dan Ellis, who we're also a big fan of, you've had some exposure to Lyle Mast and some of the tracking stuff. I showed the goggles. I'm curious. We just had Carter Hart through town with Vegas talking about how he uses the track optic goggles. You mentioned you're using them. For those that are hearing me say this and don't know what I'm talking about, they basically are goggles you put on that block off the peripheral as well as the bottom vision. I'd be curious your experiences with them, how you feel they've helped and how you use them.
Yeah, I mean, I love them. I went to Kelowna last summer and I'm actually planning on going to see Lyle again this year. I got to talk to him what week would work the best, but Daniel is one who introduced me to Lyle, and I never heard about him before. Went to Kona, and I think actually I was there for a week, and I think it helped me so much. Just picking up what he thinks about the goaltending, and I got the goggles, and I mean I've been using them a lot in summer and probably at least once a week in college. And I feel like just having them on, you kind of realize that, again, it probably helps you realize that the net is smaller than you think and you don't have to move as much. And you just see the pucks kind of coming in you, so when your hands are in the right position, you barely have to move. And also I feel like with movement, and let's say pass from top of the shoulder to the other side, I feel like just, kind of keeping your head down on the puck, and it just helps, have a better rotation, just kind of brings your body connected to the other side. So I think, as I said before, I'm the goalie that sometimes I'm kind of all over the place, and I think that's the big reason why Daniel is wanting me to go to see Lyle, because he thought that he can help me with it, and I think it did. So goggles are probably a big part of, wearing them just helps you be more connected and, just have everything together and track the puck easier.
You said that so well. I love the word connected, and it's interesting. I love that you picked up on that, because a lot of people just focus on the tracking and the pucks, but it really does sort of help initiate that one piece connected movement a lot. So I love that you identified that as well.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing, just tracking the puck, but for me being connected, because I allow to stretch even when I don't have to.
Well, and it must be nice knowing you've still got that in your back pocket. You just don't have to use it as often.
Yeah, that's, one of other things that I, talked to Matt Smith, last few days, you can stretch and explode that not a lot of goalies can, but you are using it a lot less than a year before, so it's a lot better, but still you don't have to use it as much as you are right now. So that's why I'm oh yeah, I know, I can see it when I watch video after, but in the moment, I get so stuck in a game that, if I will be able to, read the game even better and relax, I know I can get it more connected than I am right now.
I love it. Last one. This is I promise. I spent more time than I promised I would, but I love this conversation. I'm smiling throughout, Adam. Back home, when you go back home in the summer in Slovakia, you're starting to hear a lot of buzz about Slovakian goaltenders and more NHL teams looking over there for some of that skill and that athleticism that you spoke to. Where you see the state of the position back home, some of the goalie coaches that you've been exposed to over the years, the job that Jan Lasik is doing with the program. Do you see some growth there?
Yeah, I think you mentioned him, Jan Lasik. Without him, I don't know where I would be, he just helped me so much, just even, getting to the USA, and the work he's done with, not just him, but all the goalie coaches in Slovakia is unbelievable. And I hope that in few years, Slovakia will have more and more goalies in the NHL, because now we have none, but I think the work he's doing with young kids, it's great. And when he started the project of those goalie camps, I was 14 years old. And those are the youngest kids that go to those camps. So I was in the age when everything started, and we can see the results, I feel like, So the work he's doing, it's great. And, there are so many great goalie coaches. I already mentioned Dusan Vlk, that was my goalie coach last year in Slovakia. I'm really close with him. This year I probably talked to him almost every other day. And actually, I've been doing video with him after every weekend. So every single game I played, I watched with him, and he kind of helped me do some pre-scout stuff. Then you mentioned Peter Kosa, goalie coach with World Junior team. He's great. Dusan Straharsky, Dominik Guric. I can say so many names, right? Is there
a lot more than is there a lot more of that and more support for young goalies than maybe there was when you were 6, 7, 8? I know you started skating at 2 and you were a goalie by 7 and playing at 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Is there just more support at a younger age now overall because of the work they're doing and more goalie coaching?
Yeah, I think for sure. There are so many good goalie coaching in Slovakia, and I feel like what Jan is doing, and I think it's great for, not in every club or team, or, like kids hockey is very different in Europe than, in USA. Like we don't really have like, high school hockey or anything like that. So it's very different how it works. I'm not going to start explaining that, but like there wasn't a lot of goalie coaches in actually teams where kids are on the ice every day. Like let's say when I was younger, like I had goalie skate once a week, or then there was our team that didn't even have a goalie coach, so once every couple months you go to that camp and you are skating with great goalie coaches, but then you come back and you don't really have a goalie coach, or goalie coach doesn't really have time for you. And I think what is great that Jan is doing, like he brings goalie coaches that are maybe younger, or like the goalies that are, done after playing juniors but want to stay in hockey. Like he brings them to those camps and they're not maybe ready to be goalie coaches yet, but here he's helping them just like work with those best goalie coaches in Slovakia and learn. So then when the kids come back to their teams, they have a better goalie coach, and there are more goalie coaches and have more time for kids. So I think it's a long process. Like I said, it's kind of started when I was 14 years old. So 7 years ago. So it's probably a lot better right now than when I was a kid.
That's great. That's awesome. That's how to do it, right? If you want more good goalies, create more good goalie coaches.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. Adam, this has been fantastic. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be back on with us on the InGoal Radio podcast. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to our audience. I know that they're going to be listening along and smiling as widely as I was as you talked about all the things you've been working on and how your game has progressed. So many great takeaways. Thank you so much for spending the time. Best of luck the rest of the time in Rockford and with the national team heading into World Championships. I can't wait to continue this conversation now that you're a pro over the next number of years.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Couple of nuggets in there.
Oh, just so many. Hey, how about that? How about just you can hear it in his voice how excited he was to be in that gym and run into Swayman and Ottinger and have that conversation with Ottinger and just be able to pick his brain. And
what's up, guys? What's up?
I was smiling doing that interview. It's just
you'd have to tell him who you are, though, right?
If you're Adam, yeah. Oh well,
yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, but he's not dropping by saying, "Hey, I happen to be a goalie and I really like you." It's like, I'm here at the Olympics with you and I'm a goaltender for you're kind of colleagues. I understand why he's fanboying there a little bit.
Well, and they would know who. I mean, man, the World Junior Championships that he had and the attention that he got back when he was wearing Brian's pads, the bright green pads at the World Juniors, the green and yellow. Trying to remember, they'll know. I guarantee you. Jake Ottinger is a passionate goaltender person as well. He'll know who he was.
Those pads were like the golf balls that I used. Are they green? They're yellow? I don't know, but they're different than white. And that's where I know it's my ball over here. It's not yours. So get the hell away.
Oh, for me, that's easy. I was just gonna say, for me, that's easy. Mine's in the woods. You guys stay here. I'll go find.
I can't find mine.
Yeah.
It's a good thing because we can play it from the desert here. It's a bad thing because the trees don't kick it back onto the fairway. So it's there's a good and there's a bad with golf down in Vegas. That was really cool. A lot of fun, and it's one of those interviews. I'll go back to Jeremy Swayman. Didn't know a lot about Jeremy Swayman. We had him on InGoal Radio, the podcast, and it just blossomed from there. And now everybody's aware of him. Looking forward to following Adam Gajan's progress.
Yeah, just a great guy. And like I said, I don't think this will be the last time we talk to him. So exciting times ahead for him. And a few more. We've got a few more of these guests lined up where we talk to guys that are just turning pro, that are making this transition in the coming weeks, signed at the end of their college or junior seasons, got a taste of the American Hockey League like Hampton Slukinski and Adam Gajan this past week. Got a few more of these lined up as we head into the summer.
Hutch, we're going to do that pick crew thing next year.
Oh, you better believe we're going to.
I'll handle the gloves. You handle the pads.
Yeah, probably got to get Jill to come by and drop the Sense Arena headset onto him.
Yeah.
I don't like the NHL Sense Arena idea. Not because I don't love NHL Sense Arena, but if it's replays of me and Net, you're going to have to really strap that thing on tight because I'll be shaking my head like, oh, what is that?
No, it's just right Pete Fry. Just Pete Fry getting you ready for your next game.
Oh, that'll do. I'll do the Pete Fry mindset thing.
Or put on the Lyle mask goggles in between.
Adam Gajan talked about using the Lyle mask goggles.
He did. Pete would not be happy with you, Woody. Way too much self-deprecating stuff.
It's part of my shtick.
We got to work on this. We're gonna bring Pete on to take you
No, we
through.
don't. I like the self-deprecating stuff.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be fun to have Pete come on here and do a live fix for Woody?
Yeah, like a tutorial on self-belief.
Yeah.
That'd be his greatest challenge yet.
That fits in right there.
If you can fix this guy, you can fix anyone.
You're smart
Pete,
enough.
give us a call. Let's make it happen.
And gosh darn it, people
You're talented enough, and you're good enough. And gosh darn it, people love you.
Oh my, greatest ever.
Thank you, Stuart Smiley, Darren Millard.
Greatest ever SNL skit was when he did that with Michael Jordan.
The best. Jordan's breaking up. Talk to you next time on InGoal Radio, the podcast, presented by The Hockey Shop, source for sports language, thehockeysshop.com.